Yo, what's up? Welcome.
Hello,
everybody.
It's us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Was definitely waiting for the intro to play. I
like it just walked us all through the
how was going to go. I know,
Tim just explained it.
Totally. I'm also pulling up the super chats because everybody, you can super chat in if you want. If you have thoughts about Ghost of Yotei, if you want us to talk about it, we'll do that. We're about to react to the state of play.
He's talking like Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get out of my fuck up, Andy, okay?
Don't ruin Superman Day.
Oh, it's Superman Day, everyone. We just reviewed Superman, James Gunn's 2025. Sure to be classic, I would say, to some extent. This will be memorable, I think, at the very least, in terms of superhero movies in the future when we're looking back. And if you want to hear all of our in-depth thoughts, you can check out that interview that went longer than we expected, which means we're reacting to the state of play late. So a lot of people have already seen this.
On delay.
You might be, yeah, exactly. State of play on delay, everyone. So you might have waited to see it with us for your very first time, and we appreciate it if you did that. Or you might be here to just see our reactions to things. We're going to check out the state of play, and then we'll do a Gamescast breakdown after that. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Fantastic. Let's go.
Let's go.
Just a second. Fill some time.
We're going to fill a little bit more time as Barrett gets everything all ready with our fun little overlay, Andy. Look at that.
Thank you.
Look at that.
No spoilers. What did you think of Superman?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys do scores on. You guys don't.
We did a lot
rank,
for some
right?
reason. For some reason,
New movies we tend to like say on the scale. I'd give it a
Yeah. So
in the
for me,
eights.
it's like I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay,
yeah.
We're all
Like
exactly
it's the thing.
aligned.
It's funny because I think I've
Echo
seen
chamber.
similar-ish takes on varying degrees. As a movie, as a James Gunn film, I think it's a fantastic James Gunn movie.
Yeah.
If I'm like ranking James Gunn's movies, I think it'd probably be. It's pretty high up there. It's just the thing that I had to sit with it as a Superman movie. I think Superman in DC, I have such a version of it in my brain where like I watch so much Arrowverse, right?
Yeah,
or like we watched Dark
you
Knight
did.
and all that shit. So like I know we're trying to get away from the seriousness of it, but like it's hard for my brain to break out of it and like accept the James Gunn version of it. But you know, I'm trying to sit with it. You know, let it cook a little bit. See how I feel maybe a week from now.
I'll
2
take
weeks
that.
from
Okay.
now.
I like
All
that.
right, I'm looking good.
I had a fun time though.
Fantastic.
Any Gold Farms in it?
Superman?
No,
He better be.
he does look a lot like Jimmy Olsen. World premiere.
Hello, everyone. This is Jason Connell and Nate Fox from Sucker Punch Productions.
My God.
Ghost
What
of
a
Tsushima
stunner.
was an honor to be a part of. And today, Nate and I get to share more about our next game, Ghost of Yotei. We'll be sharing how we've crafted the game around exploration while keeping Atsu's tale of vengeance front and center. We'll also talk about ghost combat and how it's evolved. And we'll introduce for the first time some new special modes of play. But let's start things off first by talking about a Japanese folk legend, the Onryo.
Andy, you should wear a mask again.
I've always thought that.
Andy, is there another game we've played that has Onryo?
The people of Ezo believe Atsu is
It sounds so
an
familiar.
Onryo,
Assassin's Creed
a
Shadow?
wrathful ghost bent on revenge.
I don't think so.
And they're half right. Atsu doesn't care if she lives or dies, so long as she can punish the Yotei Six, a ruthless gang who set up
That's Greg
all
was
he's
saying.
After 16 years in the South, she's returned home to put their spirits to rest.
People in chat are saying Assassin's Creed Shadows. And Neo. So maybe I'm thinking Neo. Somebody in chat says Blue-Eyed Samurai.
It's warm memories of her
That might be
family
it.
that propel her forward. When Atsu returns to her childhood home, with the push of a button, you can experience those cherished times.
Wow.
That's fucking cool.
Wow. Onryo is also a persona you can get in Persona 5.
Sony first party
By
titles,
giving you
man.
the
They
freedom
love that
to
like
explore Atsu's
look at
past,
the SSD.
the wound of her loss becomes personal.
Mark
It's
Cerny
that
made
pain that pushes her
you have to have
forward.
this.
Hunting down the Yotei Six is a near impossible task. She'll face 1,000 blades. But the Onryo is relentless, and with each victory, the ghost story around her grows.
ghost story. That's so cool.
I hope at some point in a boss battle they say, "Wrong Ghostbuster." Think they'll do that?
They might.
Maybe if you
Greg.
leave it
feel
right,
like
the
I could do it.
delivery could have been better. I don't know.
Well, call me a Ghostbuster.
Ghost of Yotei focuses on player freedom more than any game Sucker Punch has ever made.
Love it.
But it's also a game that, at its heart, is inspired by so many of our favorite wandering samurai films.
Title card.
So let's start off by talking about exploration at the edge of Japan. We all have different playstyles, so we set out to make an open world game that lets you drive your own experiences.
God, I'm
Whether
so
that's your
ready for this
curiosity to
vibe.
wonder, your thirst for combat, or a deep desire to stay focused on the story.
Oh yeah.
As you explore, there's an underlying clue system that invites you to new adventures in new areas of the game that could be appealing to you. If you interrogate an enemy, choosing to ask about the Oni, you could uncover a landscape scarred by
yes.
fire with more bold, samurai-like enemies to fight and abilities for Atsu to learn. Or if you ask about the Kitsune, might lead you to an area filled with snow and deception, enemies that ambush you, and new ninja-like tactics to study.
This is so sick, man.
Atsu draws cards for each clue to keep track of all available adventures.
I love cards.
The more you play, the more the game unfolds for you. As she makes progress against the Yotei 6, her legend as the Onryo grows.
These cards will be in the collector's edition. Let's
Oh my god. Don't get me too excited.
Bounty will go up, drawing the attention of deadlier foes.
Yes, yes.
Are you lost?
I'm looking for some old friends. The Yotei 6.
Show her the door.
There is a hefty price on Atsu's head. Now, Atsu can also hunt down her own bounties that bring her all around the land. This is a lucrative way to make some money to fuel her vengeance quest.
Whoa. See ya, idiot. I want to walk into a town and have it be like,
of Clan Eguchi.
this lady killed 60 people.
We
They're
don't
trying
want
to get a
anything.
PlayStation trophy.
Hell yeah, slide.
Grapple on that shit. Fly.
All right, where's the small child?
Hidden in the world are altars of reflection. Finding one inspires Atsu and unlocks a new ability to help her on the journey ahead.
Perfect.
They are
parry.
fun to find on their own, but for a quicker route, you can always buy a traveler's map from the cartographer.
Oh.
Ghost of Yotei isn't going to rush you through anything. You can choose what motivates you most. But we think the best way to play is to simply pull out your spyglass, find something interesting on the horizon, and enjoy the ride.
Let's ride.
I might watch this as ASMR tonight. This is very nice. Very soothing.
Flower Street, spooky. That's
awesome.
Kind of fucked up to write on the flowers. I feel like people work on that.
Another caption. It's not fucked up right on the flowers. Stand
The
corrected.
lands around Yotei are vast. It's not about checking it all off, it's about engaging in the content that gets you
some
excited.
kind of game.
Gambling.
Embrace that curiosity and let the wind guide you on your hunt.
That's awesome. That's October? That's really
Ezo
far
is
away.
a dangerous place. Atsu always wields a weapon. As for which, that's up to you. Will you choose a katana, spear, a surigama,
Yeah.
odachi, or dual swords?
Dual swords.
Each is uniquely effective against a particular enemy and has their own set of upgrades to discover and master.
Plant Saito banners.
Let's see how she uses these weapons in the field, searching for leads on Lord Saito.
This is our food, from our soil. The soldiers needed more to free you.
Free us. Inokichi steals our crops while our families starve.
Who the hell's that?
Kills the woman.
Ah, shit, bad throw.
No, she's a lone wolf mercenary who'll use every advantage,
you, big
every
dog.
dirty trick to win a fight.
I don't need my uncle telling me to respect my people that are trying to murder me.
It's gonna be like Ric Flair stuff, like thumb in the eye.
The whole time during
Combat has the feel
Tsushima.
of a classic samurai movie.
That's dishonorable. I don't give a fuck, son.
Every motion counts. It's about lethal precision.
Fuck yeah. Oh, shit.
If an enemy swings hard, Atsu can lose her weapon. But if she's quick, she can disarm them.
She has 30 more.
You're dead.
Holy shit.
Choose the right weapon for the job. To fight a massive enemy, her huge Odachi blade is best.
Damn, that's so badass.
He looks like the one in charge.
Tonight, we feast.
You're very generous with these button bumps.
What do you mean?
I feel like the triangle popped
Blades
up when
are
you're pretty
great,
far away.
but ranged weapons work too.
Well, she's super leveled
And
up.
Atsu's
Same with the
got
triangle
an
circle, but that was like a
arsenal.
ranged weapon, so I let it slide.
But now,
Now I'm like, all right.
now you've earned
making this
blessings
shit
ire.
Bounty hunter. A ghost.
Thrown weapons like
He's
kunai,
just hungry.
bombs, or even blinding powder can give Atsu an edge.
I love how they're
If
just like
enemies
all the
switch
leaves.
weapons,
Put all the
you'll have
leaves.
to adapt. Dual swords are best against spears.
Cool.
No more.
That's what you get, piggy.
Tell me what you know about Saito.
Atsu doesn't always fight alone. She'll meet several allies on her hunt, including a mysterious wolf.
Hell yeah, dude. Me and my friend just gonna...
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's awesome.
This looks like the Batman Forever font.
Atsu
The
can set
PlayStation
up
3
camp
font.
under the stars of Ezo,
So Spider-Man.
That's what I meant. Spider-Man.
but she's not always alone.
Hey, friend. Share your fire with the traveling peddler?
What are you selling?
A mask said to be cursed with the unpredictable nature of its previous owner.
Camping under the stars is a great way to rest up, play your shamisen, or cook to ready for a fight ahead. It's also designed to help bring important characters and upgrades straight to you.
That's awesome.
In fact, in place of the journal menu from Ghost of Tsushima, we've opted for a more character-driven way of managing allies and
This is so
vendors
cool.
you meet in Ezo. Over time, Atsu grows to have her own wolf pack. And here, you can keep track of when a sensei might have a weapon skill for you, or when a vendor has something unique to sell. Managing upgrades, resources, when to buy what, can be a burden in a big open-world game. At campsites, members of your wolf pack can catch up with you, offering upgrades and unique items. This helps ensure you have every opportunity to upgrade and prepare for Atsu's vengeance quest ahead. You don't have to leave where you're exploring, the game comes to you.
While exploring Ezo, you'll discover all sorts of new armor, charms, and gear. Perfect for building up Atsu around your chosen playstyle. Are you stealth, range, or melee focused? Find and combine the pieces that are just right for you. And of course, customize the look of your armor and weapons to make sure that your version of Atsu looks and fights just the way you want.
This is like the best shit of Rise of the Ronin. Just the color schemes and everything. Well, the combat was good too.
Get that Sly Cooper outfit again.
The score of Ghost of Yotei is incredibly special to us. Our amazing composer, Toma Otoa, has created a mashup of Eastern instrumentation with Western flavors, brought to life through an exciting collaboration of many talented artists.
で、こうダウンビートまで
If you like what you heard, we're releasing 2 tracks featured in today's State of Play on your favorite streaming service immediately after the show.
That's cool.
Nice.
I'll rock that away.
Tall white man murders 7 people with a sword on the drive home.
He said he was a lone wolf.
Lucy's coming over to babysit tonight, so I'll be like, shut up, we're just listening to this.
The digital photography community for Ghost of Tsushima is...
Jack Quaid!
We're happy to have photo mode back in Ghost of Yotei and look forward to seeing photos from your journey.
Dude, I found my folder of photos I took in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Way more photos than I thought.
Yeah.
I had like 80 photos in there.
We want playing through Ghost of Yotei to feel like stepping inside of your favorite classic samurai films. So, from the beginning of the game, we're happy to offer a full Japanese voice track with full lip sync that you can play with subtitles.
誰だてめえ
A fucking wolf,
No,
dude.
I mean, come on.
生きてたか
Erica Ishii screaming at the screen like, don't do it!
一人残らず息の根止めたと思ったまた会えたな刀鍛冶の娘
覚えておけ。アツだ。
To take the feeling of stepping into a classic samurai cinema experience one step further, we are honored to once again partner with acclaimed director Akira Kurosawa's estate for Kurosawa Mode, which emulates his classic black and white films.
How do you not get goosebumps? Like, I was just getting chills like crazy.
For Ghosts of Yotei, we wanted to celebrate 2 other influential directors who have had an impact on the genre as a whole.
Michael Bay.
Martin Scorsese.
First, we've partnered with Takeshi Miike, director of 13 Assassins, for a mode that puts the camera closer during combat for a more intense, raw experience along with increased mud and blood splatter.
That's awesome.
And lastly, we've partnered with the director of Samurai Champloo, Shinichiro
Whoa!
Watanabe. Turn this mode on
Lo-fi
to listen to some
beats during
original lo-fi
exploration?
What the
tracks
hell?
directed
That's
by
hot.
Watanabe himself.
All right, I gotta finally watch him.
Oh man, I hope I actually have new Jabba's beats. This fucking rad.
There's so many ways to make your Ghost of Yotei playthrough your own. But no matter how you play, here's one way to experience Ghost of Yotei that is sure to be special.
Controller. Like, this ain't real, guys.
Oh.
Covers?
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
What do they call that? Kitsuguri?
I don't like the gray on the controller.
Okay.
I'll say that.
You're brave.
Thank you.
Today,
Just like
you've
Atsu.
got a glimpse into Atsu's hunt for the Yotei 6. Forge your own path while discovering
Show me
the
wingsuit.
secrets of Eza.
Show me a wingsuit!
To survive, you'll need to master a variety of weapons, using lethal precision to overcome the odds and take revenge as the Onryo. Ghost of Yotei comes out on October 2nd. Thank you so much for watching.
You're welcome, Nick.
Banger incoming, dude. Holy cow.
Pre-order now.
There you go. That was the state of play. We're about to do a Gamescast breakdown of everything we just saw, so stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. This episode's brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. If you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or simply return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team are always there to have your back with personal and fast support. Y'all know I've been outside a lot playing Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I'm out and about looking dope. Exclusively for you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. Head to shadyrays.com and use code FUNNY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, go to shadyrays.com, use code FUNNY to get 35% off polarized sunglasses. What's up and welcome to the Kinda Funny Gamescast for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. Of course, I'm your host, Tim Geddes. I'm joined today by Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Good day, Tim.
Greg Miller.
Good day, Tim.
And Andy Cortez.
Hello, Tim.
We just watched the Ghost of Yotei State of Play. I was about to say Tsushima. It's still in the head.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable.
State of Play, and we're about to tell you everything that we thought about that. Of course, this is the Gamescast. Each and every weekday, we get together here live on YouTube and Twitch, and then later on podcast services around the globe to talk about the latest and greatest in video games, whether it's previews, reviews, prediction topics, or reactions to things that we just saw, like this episode right now. If you love what we do, please support us with the Kinda Funny membership on Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts to get all of our shows ad-free and a daily exclusive show. Today's Greg Way is 19 minutes talking all about Greg's thoughts on AEW, Superman video games, and Kohl's closing. Really sad. We didn't talk about this. Like, what a bummer.
Cole's French Dip down in L.A. announced
I thought you meant the department store.
Yeah, I also thought you meant the department store. I got real concerned.
That was your reaction, Andy?
You were really upset about Kohl's.
I mean, that's every gift card from my mom is Kohl's.
That was gonna be like the biggest recession indicator of all time. Of like Kohl's can't make it.
Damn, dog.
I started getting, my heart dropped.
Too, man.
For a chance to be part of the show,
I was like, you talking about the local one or just all of Kohl's?
Super chat.
I'm about to text my mom. Like, Mom,
Yeah, I was like, did you hear the news? Kohl's.
you rush off set, start calling families and friends.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl
McDonald's
Jacobs,
closed down.
Omega Buster, Delaney, the song, Twining. Little housekeeping for you. Like I was saying, we're an 11-person business, all about live talk shows. Games Daily was insane today, talking about the Subnautica 2 story. What a trip that was.
Oh, yeah.
And then in review was us talking about 2025 Superman. It was a great episode. Go there to check out all of our thoughts on the latest Superman movie, the beginning of the DCU. Today we're brought to you by Shady Rays, but we'll tell you about that later. Let's get to the topic of the show. The Ghost of Yotei State of Play just happened. What did we think? I would like to start.
Go ahead, Tim.
What a presentation. The level of confidence that Sucker Punch has to just do what they just did. Hey, we know the game's cool. Let's just show you it. It's a cool game. You're going to think it's cool. You're going to want to play it. Our job is done. I feel like this is, for a solo game state of play, this late, this is the final marketing cycle push for one of these. It's always weird going in because it's like, what can they show us? What can they go above and beyond, or what don't we know about this game? And it's a weird one where I feel like oftentimes we're at this point where there's not really questions to be answered. It's almost, we don't need this necessarily.
Sure.
The world needs this, right?
The world.
Having said that, I feel like there was a ton of announcements in there. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. It's just even cooler little things that I didn't expect. The Samurai Champloo mode, I'm like, that's how I'm playing. That sounds freaking awesome. I love that they saw the success of the Kurosawa mode in the first one, and what more can we do? It just seems like more in all the right directions. I also love, again, going back to the confidence, some of the words that they were saying there, they repeated a couple times talking about player choice, but really addressing kind of the open world fatigue of video games. And they said things of it's not about just checking things off. It's just about enjoying the story put in front of you. I think we've seen a lot of games in recent times kind of take that ethos and run with it. And I think that we are finally at a point that, this game's been in development for many, many years. I think it's really kind of a time and place reacting to a lot of an era of video games becoming very samey over time. And I love that this definitely seems like a sequel to what came before, but also is all right, let's take it up a notch in terms of freedom and not making it just be the video game, but instead being an experience. And it looks like a damn good experience. Bless, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought this was fun. Leading up to this, I've been saying repeatedly that I don't necessarily even want to watch this, right? I'm already sold on Ghost of Yotei. I loved Ghost of Tsushima, and so there's not really much you need to tell me in terms of getting me excited for Ghost of Yotei and trying to really sell me on it. This feels like one of those things of, all right, let's talk more about what the game's about. People already know what Ghost of Tsushima is. They know what to expect. We've already talked about the openness and the choose your own, choose your own order of how you're going to tackle the Yotei 6 kind of situation. They've hinted at some of the stuff. It's cool to see it. And I like what they showed off as far as the card system when it comes to leads.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think that's super cool because I think a lot of the time when it comes to trying to convey the player choice aspect of it, or even conveying simple mechanics of quest logs and multi-step quests or whatever, right? I think how you contextualize things is really important. And I think using the card system to contextualize, all right, you have these different types of leads or different kinds of topics that you can ask and interrogate people for. And choosing a card will then lead you in this direction, right? And really color in your experience. For me, that's really cool and a really awesome way to kind of visualize and have your audience, your players understand the way in which they're going to play the game, right? Or at least be able to take in that information in a way that's fun, in a way that's cool, and in a way that I think could work really well. I think seeing some of the finer details as far as how they've taken some of the journal stuff from Ghost of Tsushima and turned that into what they have with the character screen that shows you all the people that you're friends with that are part of your wolf pack, which the Hangover kind of ruined wolf packs for me a little bit because now I have this fucking every time I hear the word,
bro. Yeah, I know, right?
Every single time I hear the word wolf pack, I think back to that movie now. But I do
Zach Galifianakis, man.
I mean, shout out Zach Galifianakis. But yeah, I love what they're doing with that screen in terms of showing you here are the characters that you're working with. You're gonna fall in love with them individually in the same way that you fell in love with the characters in Ghost of Tsushima, right? All of those, I think, small steps up to show you how we've improved, how we've tweaked things since Ghost of Tsushima to make this a more engaging experience. I'm all the way in for. I think the thing that I'm most fascinated about and interested in is how they've tweaked combat here, especially turning what they had in Ghost of Tsushima with the stance system, which is how you would kind of change stance to take on different types of enemies. Now they've made it so that you have different weapons that you're equipping, right, to take on different types of enemies, but you can lose your weapons, you're picking up weapons and all that stuff. I have questions about how that's going to work, but also I'm into it, right? One of the things that I love in a combat system, and this probably just goes back to old school beat 'em ups or even something like Sifu, where there is this flow of, oh, there's a bottle on the ground, I'm going to pick that up, throw that at that person, pick this thing up. I don't know if it's going to be that kinetic as we talk about with The Last of Us 2 or Sifu or those kind of games, right? But I do like the idea of having to think on the fly a little bit. So if that involves switching weapons on the fly or finding weapons as I'm going through these different camps and stuff, I'm all in. I think that could be really fun.
Greg Miller.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Ghost of Tsushima. So to see this really does feel like, hey, here's everything you loved about it, but amped up, changed, cutting the fat, giving you, we talk about these kind of games and even what you're changing. It really is, I think, new coats of paints or new way to contextualize things. And so, yeah, the wolf pack being your journal, I think super interesting, super cool. I think this card system of interrogation, I'm going to go in there and I can choose, I want to go after this, which will give me that. You stick to your lane as you build out a stealth character, as I will, or whatever. I think that's interesting. I start to wonder what that'll look like in game, because when you go to the card screen and you see her interrogating it and choosing, it's like, new weapon, new region, right? Well, eventually I've got to unlock every region, you assume. So do I have, eventually if I take all the Kitsune cards, will I eventually have them all grayed out and I have to start taking these to get there? Like little choices like that I'm left wondering about, but those early first few hours, first 10 hours of any game, right, really is trying to give you ownership over what you're doing with it. And so having that choice in building this character and building my Atsu of how I want her to play, what I want her tactics to be, what I'm interested in chasing, I think will be pretty paramount to being connected to the game. And that's what it's all about. I think we look through this and we watch it, gorgeous environments as you'd expect. Music's insane. The stuff of run through the flower path to go faster, follow the wind as always, do this. These cards, like, when I play this kind of game, I want to be immersed in it, and I want to be immersed in that story. I think, I can't remember if it was Jason or Nate talking about, in Ghost of Yotei, we won't rush you through anything. Like, that's how I want to feel when I play this. I want to feel that samurai journey, that samurai story here, a mission of revenge, and going through and getting it. It looks like they're nailing that. And again, to what Andy was joking around about, I appreciate that. Yeah, this time around, any fucking thing you can to get the upper hand, do. You're not going to be guilted. Your uncle isn't going to be in your ear saying you were dishonorable. It's about killing these 6 people and getting revenge. Like, I'm all on for that mission.
Andy Cortez.
I thought it looked awesome. I mean, I don't know if there's anything you could have shown me that would have discouraged me from this necessarily.
Hoverboards.
Huh?
Hoverboards. Oh, I'll be hyped for hoverboards.
Ooh, yeah, maybe, possibly.
Think about it for Ghost 3.
Yeah. I mean, I really just turned my mood around since the whole Coles news. Like, that was such a disaster.
I'm so rattled by that.
That really threw me off.
Coles with a K? Come on. No, man.
Yeah, I think it looks awesome. I think they're making a lot of great decisions here. I think that some things, in theory, might work out. They may work differently in practice, like the whole seeing the screen of all the people with the new tasks, like that can almost be even more overwhelming for me than seeing a map full of icons, where if you're on a map full of icons and you're just zoomed in really closely, you're not seeing everything else. But when you're seeing that screen, you open up your text messages, you see missed call from all these and missed text from all these other people. You're like, oh,
I'm
fuck.
not gonna do any of them.
Yeah. You have that sort of like a decision paralysis. But so I think that's maybe just a different coat of paint, but I hope that those, like they mentioned, those situations happening a bit more organically with the NPCs kind of visiting your campsite. I think that those moments of emergent gameplay or whatever, like I love having experiences like that. And to have a game that I already loved, the Ghost of Tsushima, is a phenomenal experience. And if anything, they could have just showed me more of the same, but in my heart of hearts, I'm like, if they deliver on those impactful story moments and on those huge, cool twists and turns, even these side quests that you could have missed and suddenly you're bawling your eyes out because you couldn't believe how emotional this little story beat was. Like, that's the stuff that makes these moments really, really memorable for me. Even though I really loved the combat, I know I'm kind of an outlier there because the combat can get really repetitive for a lot of people. For me, I enjoyed it so much that I was just seeking out everything I could fight. But I would have stopped playing, and I would not have been as high on it if it weren't for these character interactions, if it weren't for these these companion quests, or again, these side quests that you could have easily not done, and you do it, and you're like, whoa, dude, I'm a fucking mess right now. This was so sad or so breathtaking, so emotional. Like, that's the stuff, that's the sauce for me, right? And I just, us having a very similar story outline to Assassin's Creed Shadows of go hunt down the 8 or the 6 or whatever. We've seen this before, but will you have the sauce to make this more meaningful and impactful? And I think they do, and I really look forward to the adventure.
Yeah, there was a chat earlier from Bryce that was like, the game won't rush you through it, right? But like maybe your life as a content creator and you're wanting to feed the fans the reviews on time or whatever will. And that's one of the thoughts I was having during this state of play, which is like
I said there's a lot of games we need to be rushed.
Yeah, but I'm also like, what if I didn't beat this by review? You know what I mean?
I mean, let's do it. Let's just make the thing. We can do it.
Yeah, because like my thing is,
fuck it.
I was having a conversation earlier today with Mike about I forgot
Death Stranding.
about Death Stranding, yeah, and like how I got through Death Stranding, right, and like kind of went through it, and I'm jumping through different games now, and I'm kind of blowing through them. But right now, I am back in the mood for an open world action adventure thing, and not something like Death Stranding that gets weird and like a different thing, right? Like I'm
not one of these weird games.
Not one of these fucking weird. I'm in the mood for a traditional action adventure open world kind of experience, and Ghost of Yotei is coming at kind of the perfect time for that. And it's been a while since I fucking
lived in a game,
lived like 100% of the thing.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like probably since Spider-Man 2 for an open world that I've like 100%ed. And so I'm kind of having the thought of, as they're talking about it, I'm like, this could be one of those.
I say you open yourself up to the experience, because that's what I was thinking too. Of like, yeah, I want to do. Maybe not everything a review, but I do want to follow that wind. I do want to follow that wild hair. What do I want to do right now kind of vibe to it?
Yeah.
We can do that for a review. We always can do that for a review. I mean, I did it for Death Stranding, got yelled at a lot, but it's fine.
I'm just saying.
Just didn't do that hour and a half, everybody got mad.
Just ignore your notifications.
Tim, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You didn't love Ghost 1, right?
Oh, no, I mean, I didn't play it. Like,
Yeah,
I played the
yeah.
first hour because Andy was like, dude, you got to give it a shot. And I loved the first hour years after the game came out.
Yeah.
But then just things kept popping up. So
Do
I
you
never
see this being different for you?
Ghost 1 is always a game that when I'm like, I have nothing to do, fuck it. I'm going to like start this up. And I always start it up again. And I'm like, fuck, I love this. And then I get distracted and stuff.
The way that you looked at me and Bless and were like, you need to watch K-pop Demon Hunters or whatever that, like this game is just filled with those movie sort of hype moments that Tim Geddes would lose his shit
I'm
over.
very excited for this one. Like this very much seems like its own thing, and it seems like it's addressing a lot of even the potential issues that I was turned off of. One, I was so hyped for it, and I was turned off because of you and Kevin. Both you were like, "This ain't for you, Tim." Like very, very early during the review process, you're like, "Nah, way too open, way too aimless, or whatever." And I was like, "I don't got time for that." So that's the only reason I never like fully got into it the first time around. But yeah, seeing this now after hearing specifically Andy talk about it for years about how Ghost 1 replaying it like or finishing it or whatever it was, you're like, it would revise your 2019 Game of the Year or whatever year it was, 2020.
Yeah, I put it over The Last of Us Part 2 after beating it. Yeah, because it was also just, as much as I love The Last of Us Part 2, it was fun to play, and I wasn't dreading every moment, but that's all just personal feelings.
Yeah, for sure.
See, I don't get the vibe that Ghost of Yotei is going to redefine that much, right? Like as I watch this, nothing about Ghost of Yotei seems revolutionary on the side of like we're really changing how this is, and not as like a diss to Ghost of Yotei, obviously, because like this is exactly what I want.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Redefine it in terms of like there's a story here that seems like there's 6 people to go kill. That's the story.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I think the first
that's
one.
fair, then.
I think the first one can be a little overwhelming with the politics and the regions and the warring factions, and like I think it's easy for a dummy like me to see terms that I don't recognize and be like, oh man, you're throwing a lot of terms at me, right? I'm not. This is a story of revenge. This is so personal. This is so close to just your character, and everything else will fill in those gaps. And I'm hoping to have, again, anytime they show this bald motherfucker with just the hair hanging down, he's all kind of skinny and freaky looking, he's talking shit to her. Yeah, the snake. Anytime they show that dude, I'm like, oh my God, I hope all of these characters have these very distinct personalities, and they are, it is almost a Kojima-like experience of every one of these bosses is going to be so definitive, much like Sifu was with how those bosses are.
I think that's going to be the test, right? Like if we're still quite a few months away from this game releasing, I hope if you have one more marketing beat, I want to get a bit more of the, all right, here are some of the characters you're working with, right? Like here are 2 of the targets and like what their gimmick is or what their story is, and I want like. I want to be more into this world as far as like the actual bones of what's the story foundation of these characters that I'm going to be chasing after, or even like the characters that are going to be part of my wolf pack that I'm making friends with. I think that's like the last thing.
Too sweet.
You're not part of this.
Bless would have been so into the WCW Wolfpack.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
WCW Wolfpack?
Yeah.
WCW wrestling? Like
I didn't watch any WCW, no.
Yeah, but like,
I definitely looked over thinking it was going to be a Wolfpack.
It is.
Wait, who's in it? Would it be a wrestler?
Kevin Nash.
It was
Kevin Nash.
It was NWO Red, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I know. I guess I, but like I never,
you never saw it. Though.
Yeah, I never saw it.
You never did the Too Sweet.
Too sweet, man, dude. Shit.
Oh yeah,
Jen calls it the
managed by
Kissy
Dusty
Wolves.
Rhodes.
Yeah,
Randy Savage. Okay,
What a time! What a time!
Lex Luger, Sting. I know these guys.
What a time, everybody. We're going to keep talking about Ghost of Yotei and all of your super chats after a word from our sponsor.
Red Sting was so cool.
This episode's brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. If you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or simply return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team are always there to have your back with personal and fast support. Y'all know I've been outside a lot playing Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I'm out and about looking dope. Exclusively for you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. Head to shadyrays.com and use code FUNNY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Again, go to shadyrays.com, use code FUNNY to get 35% off polarized sunglasses. Let's go through some of them super chats here. Method says, looks great, but it's mostly more Tsushima. Not a bad thing. I just don't see a huge evolution of the formula. Combat's still that classic AC parry one at a time. Very much the Spidey 2 treatment. Bless, do you agree with that?
I think I agree with it, even though I come out of that positive more than negative, right? Like, I think Ghost of Tsushima as it is, and this, I think, comes back to the conversation for you, right? As far as what you look for. Maybe why Greg was like, I don't know if this is a Tim thing, is that it is a traditional open world video game. It is not real. I don't think Ghost of Tsushima reinvents the wheel by any means, but I think it's a really good interpretation of what the wheel can be.
I think it's back to what we're talking about with Code of Paint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, Ghost works because it took the tradition. I should say, Ghost works for me, and I think stands out for me because it was like, oh, we're gonna hide the line on the ground behind flower petals flying through the air.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We're gonna give you all these different things to do, but rather than just being collecting a piece of paper, it's doing this shrine or following this fox or whatever. Like, it was all in presentation. It was still doing the Assassin's Creed stuff, and that's why Kevin and I were like, oh well, that's not, you don't vibe with that.
I don't think
I still think you could have golden pathed it and been fine though.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, it wasn't until years later, Andy telling me like about specific story moments that I'm like, fuck, that sounds awesome. But even then, you've told me it's not like the story's that good or like the overall, like the main plot, the golden path isn't necessarily like, oh, you got to play this. Where I feel like that to me is the like, I want the story for an open world.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't think I don't need every video game to be revolutionary, right? Even the big ones, even the AAA
Especially
ones.
sequels, man.
Yeah.
Let sequels be sequels.
And
let them be more of the thing we liked.
The thing that I liked about Ghost of Tsushima for what it added to the genre is what Greg was talking about as far as like, oh yeah, follow the pedals. It doesn't have to be a thing of like put the objective indicator or like follow the line on the ground. It is that, right? It is how they go about combat. It is how they go about like, you know, even just the visuals of the world and like how well the world sings and like, you know, like living in the Ghost of Tsushima world. I think that is like top shelf. Like, this is that good shit. When you're talking about like the Assassin's Creed inspired open world video game, if you can give me like those small things to make me go, oh snap, y'all stepped it up like in this small way, right? Or y'all stepped it up in this other small way, and then also gave me a story that I care about in a setting that isn't often explored, even though nowadays it is often explored, right? But I think still to this day, out of the different open world samurai games that we've gotten in the last 5 years, they're not better than Ghost of Tsushima. You know, like I'm sorry, Rise of the Ronin and Assassin's Creed Shadows, but like no.
Yeah, no.
And
I will say this, Tim. I think that the story is like, I would say really good, but there are hype moments throughout the whole journey. Like by the end of it, you won't be like, I regret sticking with this. You will not, because like the final sequences are still like, fuck, this is awesome shit right here. And I'll go against that super chat to where like, I know they weren't even super negative on it, but I think if they changed too much, I probably wouldn't have been stoked on it. I think if they try to change too much of what the formula is, I'd be like, well, that's not what Ghost of Tsushima is. Yeah. That's not what I wanted from this journey. I want this beautiful, lush experience with great combat and cool characters and memorable villains and things like that. For me, it's the biggest change is I think it is a pretty big change that there's more than one weapon to use. You know, like
I like the movement from stances to this.
Me too, because I was not a huge fan of the stances.
In the instant switch of the weapons, that's cool too.
I don't think there was enough visually there for me to wrap my head around and decipher what the right call even was in this certain moment, because this enemy is weak to this stance, and that stance looks like this, but it's called the water stance. It was like a little too much for me in that moment. I think there's a lot more. There are a lot more visual indicators for me here to go, oh, this dude's weak to a spear. Let me bust out my spear, or let me bust out these weapons. And the stances just were not my favorite part of the combat, even though I still really, really enjoyed that aspect, or I still enjoyed the combat. But I mean, you're getting more than one sword. That's a pretty damn big change. You're getting the dual blades, the spear, that one on the chain that I always blank on, whatever its name is,
knife on chain,
and the gigantic fucking katana. Like that's
Kurisagama, I think.
Freak Unleash.
Kunai.
No,
it's
not that.
That's just a throwing blade.
Kusarigama.
Kusarigama. Right?
Kusarigama.
No, the kunai is just like the blade part of it. It doesn't have the chain attached to it. We went through this the last
Yu-Gi-Oh
Well, I think kunai on chain. Sorry.
Oh, kunai on chain. Gotcha.
Kunai with
I mean, I think that's a pretty massive change. Because that's not only are you kind of doing the same thing with stances, but you're having to account for a lot of different weapons you also have to make and that you can collect for your character. And I'm with Bless. I'm so pumped to see exactly how the hell things will change whenever you drop your weapon.
Yeah.
I don't know what that mechanic is and how you sort of work your way around it, but it seems super
Get back
cool.
to it,
Yeah. And I think we're underrating like the clue structure and like the non-linear structure of the missions. I think to the super chat, I think one thing that's tough for Ghost of Yotei to do to like get people hyped is look different than Ghost of Tsushima, because I will say that is the one thing where I look at this game and I'm like, I would have thought this is Ghost of Tsushima if you showed it to me and didn't tell me, right? Aside from the main character being Atsu instead of Jin. But like, I also don't know how you make Ghost of Tsushima look that much better, aside from bringing it into a more powerful console, which they've done here, right?
I think those differences will be very noticeable for you
when you're playing
on a screen that's not a YouTube video, 12 feet, 15 feet
also,
away
if you went and played Ghost again, Ghost 1 and came back to this one.
For sure. I'm really kind of pumped about this whole cards thing, because when they mention new modes of playing, I think they were talking about the lo-fi stuff and all this sort of things. The cards thing almost rings to me like a roguelite sort of randomization thing, where I don't know if every one of these enemies are going to have their set sort of two options of things that they're giving you. If they are randomized, if I do pick all of the location stuff, will I only get all of that? And how does that change, not the run, but, it feels like this sort of choose your own adventure thing in the way that when you're done with the Hades room, you go, all right, do I want to go for that loot, or do I want to go for this room or whatever?
I don't think it's going to be random. I didn't get that vibe. But I do get the vibe of choice, right? Of just like, here are the options. And
I would really love that if when we sat down to review so far, it was like, oh, we've all done, not all of us, but there are dramatic differences in what we did, because I went full stealth and you guys went Perry Poppy stuff and yada yada.
Yeah, I would wonder. Yeah, like I have the same thought, Andy, but I wonder if they tier them out. Like a specific class of NPCs carries this amount of cards, and then you have another class of NPCs that have like a rotation, so it's not completely random, but it's somewhat contained, so that there's a progression to your story. Because that would be wild if it was like, oh, I talked to this guy and fuck, they told me where this guy is all the way over here.
Yeah, I'm
so fascinated because I think for some reason I get like Deathloop vibes in terms of like trying to solve that puzzle and figure out like, okay, if I do this, and this, that seems like a big undertaking as far as creating a game that's going to deliver the main content to you in a way that makes sense, in a way that's fun for the player, but also in a way that makes my experience original from Greg's, which is original from Andy's.
And my Atsu's going to look so sick with all these customization options.
Cool ones in there.
Really, really pumped up about that.
Kebab says, I hope there's a 21-9 mode like Outlaws and Shadows. I imagine they will. I mean, this isn't coming to PC day one, so.
It looks like they showed us. We had the bars on the top and the bottom.
But wasn't that all seemed kind of like predetermined? Like you are, doing this, then something else would happen and it would change the aspect ratio. Yeah, like it just happened there.
I'm going to try to find a transition.
Yeah.
I mean, but they showed the name of the location above the bar.
Yeah, interesting.
Like
I feel like it might just be like
in the render area.
Throughout the whole time, it's just like going back and forth between them style-wise.
This Kurosawa mode, is that Not 21 by 9 the whole time?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think it is.
I thought it was.
I thought it was.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking about 32.9.
Yeah, Kurosawa mode I think is 21. I mean, all this. I mean, a lot of what we're seeing here. I feel like that's a menu option you make for like all the different ways you allow people to play the game in terms of visual modes and like the Watanabe mode and all this shit. Like, I feel like that'd be a slam dunk. Just put 21 by 9 on there.
Yeah, yeah, it probably
That'd be a
will.
segue. Oh, that was a transition.
But that happened in the last game, where it would bring up the black bars and then fade them away.
They're still there, baby.
Volk Dasher says, game looks amazing. Admittedly, it might be one of those games that truly shines when you actually play it. The first didn't showcase well either, in my opinion, until I played it and was blown away. Sucker Punch got this.
Yeah, like I know, like obviously before the Ghost of Tsushima in the previews and in the trailers looked great, but I think the gameplay stuff. I remember seeing the first gameplay trailer. This might have been the one where they had the E3 in church where they move people and all that shit. I remember seeing the gameplay trailer and being like, "Ooh, I don't know, this move's kind of weird." But like playing the game, it played fantastic.
Yeah, and that was a weird one too, because remember, Ghost 1 was like one of the biggest games to not have a preview cycle because of the pandemic.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like there weren't like people talking about how it felt and everything until it came out like a month after Last of Us, right? So it was like, or before.
I think it might have been before.
Before, yeah, just crazy timing all around with that
What do you
stuff.
think's up
This
with
is after.
What do you think's up with the little gambling? The little
Where
game?
she pushes the coins
Yeah.
in or whatever.
Little game you're playing?
Yeah, something like that.
Time to play the game. I mean, that's going to be perfect for collectibles. Like immediately, I'm like, oh, those are going to be in a collector's edition, or
Oh,
maybe
those
there'll be a
coins?
couple
Yeah.
of coins in
The
the collection.
cards, the coins. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
real currency.
No, it was after. It was after.
Yeah,
It was
that sounds
what,
right.
June versus July.
Yeah. Jeremy Snow says, waited to react to this with y'all. Thanks for what you do.
Hey, thank
what are you
you.
hoping will set Yotei apart from Tsushima, or does it even matter if it's still a great first-party experience?
Less repetitive open world is my big thing. You know what I mean? As somebody who went through and platinum Ghost 1, I really loved that game. I still love that game, but I was burned out on chasing foxes and finding shrines and doing bamboo by the end of it. So I hope it's a more varied world, or fewer of the... More activities, fewer number to do to get whatever I need to get.
With how open and free this world is, I'm going to need chat to remind me about this because y'all know I don't remember shit.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorite games. I don't remember a whole lot of... I don't know if I'm mixing this up with another open world game, but if there were areas on the map that said like, hey, this is probably too hard for you right now, or this area of the map is, there'll be tougher enemies here. I don't know if Tsushima did that.
Tsushima, I think, just had
I think
it
maybe
where,
Rise of the Ronin had it, maybe?
It had a gated system.
Yeah.
Where it was, remember, you were in the first area and you had to do something story related to finally get to the second area and then get to the third area.
Yeah, it was like very deliberately designed in like a vertical way. So if you're in the bottom third, I think, yeah, it would unlock.
It was
that
gated
way.
by story moments. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
BG2580 says the last major PlayStation first-party new narrative single-player title was Spider-Man 2. I'm happy to see a project firing on all cylinders. Yeah, that context, that's important there, right? Like, we were getting so many of these Sony games back-to-back. Like, it's been a while since we've gotten one of these, because Spider-Man 2 at this point was years ago.
To
Yeah,
piggyback
Death
off,
Stranding 2 like a month ago. Or like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
to piggyback off that though, and bring you Tim and you Andy into this conversation.
Hey, Greg.
What is your vibe on Legends? This is a conversation Bless and I had on Games Daily with the announcement of the state of play of will there be a Legends 2? When would they talk about it, et cetera, et cetera? Would it be standalone? Where's your head with that, Andy?
I mean, have they talked at all about any?
No,
yeah, I don't
no.
think it happens at this point. I think that would have been the point to say, and future modes in the future. And then we all go, ooh, just like we all got excited at the Metal Gear Solid Delta thing, like, oh, is that multiplayer or not? I don't think that it happens if something wasn't mentioned here.
I think it happens as a standalone thing. Like, I think that's a separate game. Like, I feel like, anecdotally, Legends felt like a success. So I don't see them getting rid of that. And with where we're at currently with PlayStation Studios, like, they need games coming out. And I would see that as a smaller thing, especially with their live service multiplayer push. Like, if they have something that they've proven people like and actually works, why not? I always thought it was weird that it was like part of the first game anyways. Like, but I feel like that was a very experimental era of PlayStation in terms of how they release smaller titles. Like, when you look at the differences between Uncharted Lost Legacy, Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima Legends, like, all of those had a slightly different, like, release strategy, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I'm interested. To your point, remember that this Legends was announced after Ghost came out. Like that was.
I think it's a different Sony.
I
now,
agree.
Man.
I
Yeah,
agree
like,
100%. Which is why I'm surprised they're not pushing it harder as some kind of weird live service.
if God of War Ragnarok releases today, I don't think we ever get the roguelite mode later. I don't think we ever get a Last of Us roguelite mode later. Like,
I mean, look at Astrobot. I know it's different, but it's like
Last of Us just got the reordering chronological cut. You know?
and no return.
I also
yeah.
think we're putting
I'm talking about that roguelite mode though. Like, I think that they're just in a different spot right now. With like, first off, I was shocked that God of War, what was it called? Valhalla was free to play. Like that was a crazy sort of free edition. But I don't know, man. I feel like vibes and just mentality is different around the business of what we're doing. And is that really worth it to do right now, you know?
I feel like we're putting too much stock on like PlayStation versus the autonomy of the studios. Like I don't think Ghost of Tsushima Legends was a PlayStation push or a PlayStation idea. I think that
definitely Sucker Punch begging them to let them do it. We have a cool idea. Can we do this?
I also think it's Sucker Punch working on a thing and being like, we want to release this. And like I think the same with God of War Valhalla. I don't think that was like as much in conversation with PlayStation where it was like, hey, we have this really cool idea that we want to do. Like, of course they're talking to PlayStation, right? But I don't think the buck ends with PlayStation as far as whether or not God of War Valhalla is allowed to release or gets released. I think that it's more so like, hey, it's on y'all. If this is something that you think is going to make your property or you think is going to make your game more successful, then like go for it. And
But I don't know if that's mentality now of like, you do you. Yeah, go ahead. I don't know if Sony's like, no,
Hopefully
move on to
they've
the
come
team.
back to that.
Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully.
But yeah, I'm 50-50 on Legends. I think there's a good chance it happens, but I think if it happens, I do see it as a standalone thing. Like I very much see it akin to like how Elden Ring Night Reign came out, where it is like, hey, we're putting it out. It's not treated like a live service thing. It is a $20 to $30, probably $30 kind of experience, and like we support it for like a year, and then we're done with it. Unless it gets super successful, then we keep going with it. But it's not like we're fishing for the next 5 years of the game here.
Yeah. Dan says, I love that they're addressing open world burnout. Ghost of Tsushima, I see Yotei, I think Game of Thrones, was perfectly paced, never felt overwhelmed by its open world. Happy they're continuing that. Flylaw says, the wolf has Jin spirit in him, calling it now.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering there's going to be something Jin related to this game somewhere, right? Whether it's an Easter egg, whether it's a full-blown plot line. That's an interesting way to do it.
I could see it being winked at, like a little Easter egg, where the wolf
he goes in the onsen.
It's me.
I was just like, who the fuck is Jin?
Really on the nose. I wasn't expecting it to be like that.
CJ Switzerland says, this being its own story means new fans can jump in. Yeah, I think that it being titled the way that it is, and like that's definitely them understanding that like they have a potential hit franchise on their hands that doesn't need to be actually sequelized. You got to play the last one. They could just be standalone. Which
it's not Tsushima.
Yeah, the wolf being Jin. I don't know if you guys ever played Twilight Princess, but like Twilight Princess had a thing where it's like they had a tutorial character that's like this undead dude who ends up being. It's very heavily implied that he's the Link from I believe Ocarina of Time.
Hero of Time,
Hero of Time, and Majora's Mask as well.
Yeah.
What's his name? The Hero Shade?
Something like that, yeah.
Hero Shade.
Yeah.
It's fucking sick.
I feel like that's the way. Yeah, if you have the wolf as Jin, it's never heavily implied, or it's never like confirmed, explicitly said.
Until the dream sequence, and you get him.
Bandura Sen says they showed the PS5 SSD flashback mechanic. I'm predicting they'll use it for other characters, and at some point you'll play as Jin. That's interesting. That flashback mechanic, very cool.
Yeah,
I wonder how limited it's going to be. Like, can you do it literally anywhere, or is it only going to be during like prescribed moments? Knowing how PlayStation and Sony teams have done this in the most recent past times, I don't think it'll be everywhere. I do think it'll be like Ratchet, where it's like specific places.
Go back like nothing. You have no memory here. There's nothing happening.
I could have sworn that during the last State of Play or whatever it was that had a lot of Yotei focus, that me and Greg were talking about. I was like, yeah, can you? I mean, surely you can't use it anywhere. And then I could have sworn that we read right after them being like, no, yeah, it is.
I remember well, yes and no. So the conversation was, I was like, oh, look, and they did this in the trailer, which makes me think it's going to be a thing you can do in the game. And then everybody's like, no, idiots, they've confirmed that in the blog that you can. Yeah, that was
okay. Gotcha.
Mr. Fuzz says, Ghost of Yotei looks dope, but the world looks just as empty. Your thoughts on that, Andy?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's just something you can't really help without putting a cityscape in there or something. Yeah, I don't really know how you fix that issue without completely changing what the area is and whether they're going for super historical accuracy. Like, I don't know if you're going to see the Cyberpunk city towers. Like, there's no real way to address that, I don't think. Like, I think once you're playing, it is about that Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom meditative experience of seeing a thing off in the distance. And there will be, much like Tsushima had, they had their towns, they had their little enemy encampments, they had sections where it's like a couple of city blocks of houses. There will be that here. I just, I don't think it looks empty because I'm not looking for sprawling something in this world. Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
Like, yeah, I didn't find Ghost 1 empty. Like, I thought there was lots of things going on, especially as I went from one place to the other, whether it be a bandit encampment or somebody trying to take me down or just an animal to chase or whatever. But I feel for open world, yeah, it should be open.
Yeah, and I also don't think empty is inherently a bad thing when you're talking about video game worlds. Sure. I think there's context to everything. There's context to the kind of world that you're making. One of my favorite worlds to exist in a video game is Shadow of Colossus, which is the most empty world, right? But like that served the vibe, that served the story, that served the kind of game that was. I think how empty this game is, or how empty it looks in these trailers, right? And how empty it actually is, right? Like I think that's gonna serve for the type of game that Ghosts of Yotei is, which is, I think, a lot of times supposed to be serene, supposed to be meditative as you're going from point A to point B.
And I also don't know if I want an enemy camp every 10 meters, like it's a balance you got to find, and it won't work for everybody.
On the flip side, some of the most annoying open worlds I've been in have been the ones that are like, filled to the brim with people that fucking
can't fucking move without something attacking you.
I'm like, get the fuck off me.
Let's just go through some of the highlights of what they showed here to kind of close this out. But it's us trying to punish the Yotei 6. Yotei 6, 16 years since the attack. And then with the push of a button, you can have little flashback stuff. That all looks great. I feel like this is like such a simple, basic premise of revenge, which I'm like, that's all we need to be in when the presentation and style is this ridiculously off the charts. So very cool. Player freedom more than we've ever had before. Obviously, it's inspired by the samurai films. The clue system, which was in the first one to an extent of like having, the flower petals and all that stuff kind of guiding you. But this definitely seems, from my experience, a lot more in depth of like every mechanic of the game kind of feels like an alternate to how other games have done it. And of just like go out there and explore. Like that is the point, and it being open, like the journey is the point of the game.
Again, and then making it the customization they talk so much about, both in the blog of like that was one of the things they're calling out, and then here, this idea of the interrogation to get the clue to the interrogation to pick the clue that's interesting to you, right? To then you chase what you want to chase. Like that sounds super fun in a way of getting the normal game stuff in there, but giving me agency in, this sounds like a mission I'd be more interested in, or that guy I want to chase, or that weapon seems more like the weapons I use, so I'd want to go do that.
If you're overwhelmed, just kill the dude. I think that's super cool too. You don't have to interrogate anybody, like it's an option, but you could just kill that dude and move on with the mission you're already on, so you don't add anything else.
It reminds me a little bit of Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah,
I missed the Nemesis system.
That's like exactly what I was thinking of.
Copyright, be careful.
Yeah, if you sprinkle in a little bit of Nemesis system on this thing, oh man.
Bear, can we edit this and blink?
We don't want to get them in trouble.
And then a lot of modes, just like the first one had. I love that having the Japanese VO mode available from the start, not tied to a DLC or whatever. Like that's part of the experience if you want it to be. That's super cool, and obviously the different modes that they have are awesome. But the lo-fi beat story exploration, I'm very interested in that because
I'm worried.
That's the thing. It's either fuck you nailed this, or it's like you tried and this is cringy and just missed the mark. But
when we were streaming Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 yesterday, right? I was playing it and I had to put on the streamer mode, which brought up like their original soundtrack, which are just like beats and instrumentals to kind of give you the vibe of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. And like, granted, I think they actually did a better job than what I would have expected, but even still, there's nothing like the authentic thing. Yeah. If this is lo-fi beats, but they're like, they didn't source these as well as they could.
Here's the thing. Lo-fi beats, they all stem from Nujabes, which is Samurai Champloo. And if you don't get that, it is just a pale imitation.
Yes.
And sure, you might like it or whatever, but it's like, it's not the thing. And I feel like with this...
They did say they collaborated with him, right?
With Watanabe,
yeah.
Well,
Which, I mean, but that's not the music. That's
because I think that's just the
one.
Yeah, that's their director, but that still could have led to talking to the people who did the music for Shampoo or something.
I mean, he's dead, but maybe like they're the people. But yeah, it's like
Maybe he's the wolf.
Hesitation's here, but I think it's awesome, and I love that this is at least a choice that they're making.
Yeah, this better not sound like some copyright-free like lo-fi beats to put in the background of your video essay.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're working from experience there.
Man, I still really hate that gray on the controller.
Yeah.
Could have gone with anything else on it. Like, just leave it black like usual. I don't know.
Yeah, we're looking at the blog that has the shots up of the accessories they'll be selling. Yeah, I think it should be white.
Yeah.
Just let it be white instead of that gray in the center. I don't hate it though. I'll still.
Or just do the full black, like you see the art in the background there. Like just do that on the controller.
Yeah. Sick. October 2nd, not that far away, everybody.
It's still pretty far.
2.5 months.
Dude, this year's gone by like crazy. Are you kidding me? It was just January.
That's true.
Accurate. Yeah.
It was just January 2022.
Well, everybody, thank you for hanging out with us today. If you are interested in this game, let us know in the comments. If you're not, let us know in the comments. If you want to be mean to somebody, don't do it. Just don't do it. Be nice.
But if you
Send a
have to,
smile.
be mean to Nick. Be mean to
You
Nick
can
in
be
the
mean
comments.
to Nick. That is true. That is
He can
definitely
take it. He
welcomed.
loves it. He's our Dark Knight.
Until next time, I love you. Bye.
How long my arm is.